man. Ciao! Televisione! Si! Buongiorno! I saw him at the Rai Studios. Don't come too close, Blue Boy! Professionally, I mean. Personally, he can come as close and as often as he likes. Ciao! I'm always fascinated by men in baggy trousers. The mystery of it all. Who really needs them? Who simply thinks he does? Yeah. My daughter's the only one worth discussing. First of all, she's gorgeous. Beautiful, natural Aryan nose, tilted tip, slim, blonde, gorgeous. And she's an artist, you know. Now, an important one. Someday the name Pegeen Vale will mean something. There's a Henry Moore, over there Jacques Lipschitz, Pevsner, Art, Giacometti. I don't know if you've ever heard their names or not, but 25 years ago they were mostly unknown. I discovered them. I encouraged them. I started sending them monthly stipends so they could live or play or pay their rent or feed their kids or drink or whatever else they wished to do, just like regular, ordinary human beings. But they're not regular, ordinary human beings. They're artists, marvelous artists, and nobody wanted their work except moi. Usually, whenever Beckett saw me, he'd run from me in the streets of Paris. They'd show up in the middle of the night with 3 or 4 bottles of champagne and wouldn't let me out of bed for 2 days. Not that I wanted him to. But when he did, I started looking at modern art, living art, he called it. So I started buying it. Why not, I thought. I could afford it. It sure as hell wasn't for profit. It was worth absolutely nothing. I collected it because he convinced me it was a duty to preserve the art of our own time, my own time. A duty no one else was willing to do, to save and preserve an art that was a response to the madness of a world in chaos. A world where fascists were democratically elected in Italy and Germany and elsewhere, a time when Adolf Hitler denounced modern art as evil and decadent and Jewish. A time of madness and death, and camps set up for the extermination of people like me and mine. Peddlers, and the daughters and wives of peddlers, and the granddaughters of peddlers. In Paris, in 1940, I begged the Louvre to hide my collection from the Nazis, and they sent a man to my apartment on the Ile Saint-Louis, looked at my collection and said, Je suis désolé, madame, mais je ne vois rien qui vaut la peine. Nothing here worth saving, he said. So, I smashed the frames and rolled the canvases up in my suitcases and stuffed the sculpture in crates of pots and pans marked household goods and smuggled them to the south of France and from there to America, where I was still told to my face that modern art can only be loved by Jews. What the hell am I going to do with you? Wish I could just peel you off and start anew. What's the name of that movie, that British movie where, Hun, what's the name of that movie, had that bad British actress in it? Funny with the big eyes? British. We met them at a party Henry Moore took us to after the war, and Pegeen was thrilled to meet the woman's husband. That fat little fairy that's so great, hon. The one you liked? Henry Moore took us there after the war, and he turned out to be gay as pink ink. The actor, not Henry Moore. It's his wife's movie. She plays this creature woman, this cadaver. This monster woman gets pieced together from body parts by this mad scientist so she can marry. Bride of Frankenstein. Bride of Frankenstein, remember? a monster woman's going to marry Frankenstein, so this mad scientist pieces her together. See, that's what I mean. Instead of being picked apart by men, as women usually are, this woman's pieced together by this scientist. Men have always picked me apart. Lawrence liked my legs and ass, Max my stomach, Sam my tits, left one more than the right. John Holmes liked everything, even my nose. We women aren't like that. If we love a man, we love the whole man. All my life men have picked over me like a baked chicken. Nothing left now but bones and gristle. I know. When the Titanic sank and all those lives were lost, there was another ship, the Carpathia, picked up survivors, but no one knew who they were, who lived or died. There were thousands and thousands of people waiting, hoping, praying. Their fathers too were on that ship. Their husbands and mothers and children and sisters. And when it came into New York Harbor, there was a hush so strong. Sometimes I hear it still. All the Guggenheims were there. Daddy's brothers. Old Granddad Guggenheim sitting stiffly in his carriage. We didn't go to him. Thousands of people huddled in the cold, no one moving, afraid to move, as if we'd tip a balance. No one. Except for the horses stomping, nothing moved, all staring up the harbor. And then a cry. It's coming, the Carpathia is coming, and people pointing when they saw it, and then silence, all staring at the ship. And it docked. And we searched the faces looking down at us as if they were gods. And lists were handed out and cries of joy and screams, and people crying. They had reserved a space in the boats for all first class. He put on his tuxedo, white tie, diamond studs, and cummerbund. I remember him like that. When he took Mother to the ballet or the opera, and her gowns were heaven, but Daddy looked like a prince, a strong, virile, young Arabian prince. His brother said he was the handsomest Jew in the history of the world. Only since Solomon, he'd say. And they'd say, how do you know? How do you know? And he would laugh. He gave his seat to a woman in second class and stayed on board. It's Swinson, Sir James Swinson, curator of the Tate. Young for a curator, good looking. Told me the most wonderful news. I can't believe. No, not lira. Dollars. US of A greenbacks. And that's just for my children, you know. No, my collection. I call my sculpture and paintings my children. Yes. Told me the most wonderful news about the bitch of Baden-Baden. The Tyrolean twat works for my ugly uncle. She's dead. Isn't that fabulous? I'm sorry, Sir James. Would you hold for just a moment? Yes, Roberto? Well, tell Miss Pepine that I am on a very important call now myself, and I will call her back when I finish. Well, tell her this call is important too, Roberto! I will call her back. Now, please, don't buzz me again until I finish with this call. I'm sorry, Sir James. I just wanted to say that I'm insisting the collection and my palazzo stay together. Sir James then must. One's art is a reflection of oneself. It's my life I'm discussing handing over to you. No, art is very personal. It reflects who you are, what you think, how you feel your being. It is my life I am discussing handing over to you, Sir James. Now this is the heritage that I am talking about giving you, Sir James, or somebody. This destiny, this heritage, the entire heritage of my life. What? Yes, of course. I'll hold. Sir James, I'm sorry. It's an emergency call from Paris. My daughter and the children live there, so if you'll hold again. Thank you. Ralph, what the hell is going on? Yes, she did call here, but I couldn't talk to her. If you're calling about the check, it should... What do you mean gone? Where's she gone? Well, what does the note say? What the hell does that mean she knows about us? Oh my God, who told her that? No! No! My servant... Yes, I did fire someone, a gondolier. He was lousy, he was a thief. Oh, no. He... Ralph, the pills. Her pills. Did you check to see... All of them? Oh, God. Ralph! Listen to me. Listen, you filthy slime bag. You vomit his toes. If anything happens to her, anything, I promise you, you will never see any of those children again. I saw him. Saw Guido. When she was here watching my Pekin. He didn't see me watching. How bright his eyes were when he looked on my Pekin. Slim, blonde, delicate goddess, too fragile to be mine.